Imagine stepping into a dense, dark forest 12,000 years ago. You're tracking an animal, but suddenly, your foot slips, you fall, and a sharp, jagged stone slices deep into your thigh. There are no ambulances, no sterile emergency rooms, and not a single bottle of antibiotics on the entire planet. Today, a deep cut like that is a minor inconvenience. But back then, it was a potential death sentence. Think about it. For 99% of human history, we lived without modern healthcare. No painkillers, no surgeries, and no vaccines. A single minor infection could wipe out an entire tribe. By all laws of nature, humans should have gone extinct long ago. Nature was constantly trying to kill us, and we had zero medical defense. Yet, against all odds, we survived. We didn't just survive, we conquered the entire planet. How did our ancestors manage to cross the harshest winters, the deadliest plagues, and brutal physical trauma without a single pill? The answer isn't just luck. It is a dark, fascinating, and deeply calculated system hidden inside our biology and our past. To understand this entire truth, we will break down this video into 3 chapters, where the final chapter is the most revealing of all. Chapter 1. The myth of the short life. When you look at historical data, you see a terrifying statistic. For thousands of years, the average human life expectancy was just 30 to 35 years. Looking at this, modern society assumes ancient humans were old at 30 and dead by 35. We imagine their lives simply ending there. But this is a massive statistical illusion. If you actually survived childhood in the ancient world, you didn't just drop dead at 35. In fact, if an early human reached the age of 20, they had a very high chance of living up to 60 or 70 years old. The problem wasn't that humans aged faster. The problem was infant mortality. In the prehistoric world, nearly 50% of children died before reaching their 5th birthday. The wilderness was brutal. Predators, sudden drops in temperature, and contaminated water took out the weakest first. But for those who crossed that deadly threshold, nature had already selected the ultimate survivors. Our ancestors weren't weak, fragile creatures waiting for a pharmacy to open. Their immune systems were far more aggressive than anything a modern human carries. Every single day, their bodies were fighting off pathogens, parasites, and bacteria. For those who lived, the body operated at peak performance constantly, because survival of the fittest was a daily reality, not a textbook theory. But sheer biology wasn't enough. When a bone broke or a venomous snake bit, a human body needed external help. And that is when humans tapped into a massive hidden database, one that did not require a medical degree to read. Chapter 2. The Pharmacy of the Wilderness. Before there were chemicals and synthetic drugs, the entire planet was a living laboratory. Early humans didn't discover medicine by sitting in a lab. They discovered it by watching the world around them. When an animal gets sick in the wild, it doesn't just lie down and die. It changes its behavior. Dogs eat grass to induce vomiting. Pregnant elephants in Kenya eat specific leaves to induce labor. Our ancestors observed this pattern and applied it to themselves. If a primitive human had a raging fever, they didn't have aspirin, but they realized that chewing on the bark of a willow tree magically made the pain go away. Thousands of years later, modern scientists analyzed willow bark and found it contained salicin, the exact active ingredient we use today to manufacture aspirin. When they got a terrible wound, they didn't have antiseptic creams. Instead, they coated the injury in raw honey or specific molds. They didn't know what bacteria was, but they realized that honey kept the wound clean and stopped it from rotting. Today, science confirms that honey is naturally antibacterial and creates a perfect barrier against infection. But medicine wasn't just about plants. It was about brutal trial and error engineering. Archaeology has revealed ancient skulls from thousands of years ago, with perfectly round holes drilled into them, a process called trepanation. Imagine the sheer desperation. A tribal leader is suffering from severe pressure in the head due to a skull fracture. Without anesthesia, using nothing but a sharp flintstone, the tribe's healer slowly drills a hole directly into the living skull to relieve the pressure. And here's what's strange. The bone tissue around these holes shows signs of healing, which means the patient didn't just survive the surgery itself, they lived on long after it. They used ants with massive jaws as living surgical staples, forcing the ant to bite a wound closed, then twisting its body off, leaving the clenched jaw behind to hold the flesh together. Crude, painful, but it worked. Yet, all of this, the plants, the surgeries, the resilience, hides a deeper truth. The real reason humans survived before medicine has nothing to do with what we found in nature. It has everything to do with a radical shift in human behavior that changed the rules of evolution forever. Chapter 3. The Broken Femur. A few decades ago, the famous anthropologist Margaret Mead was asked what she considered to be the first sign of civilization in an ancient culture. People expected her to say a clay pot, a tool, or a weapon, but her answer was completely unexpected. She said the first sign of civilization is a healed human femur, the long bone in your thigh. In the animal kingdom, if you break your leg, you die. You cannot run from danger, you cannot walk to the river for water, and you cannot hunt for food. You become easy meat for predators. No animal survives a broken femur long enough for the bone to heal. But a healed human femur means something else entirely. It means that thousands of years ago, when a human broke their leg, their tribe did not abandon them. Someone stayed behind, someone carried them to safety, hunted on their behalf, and brought food and water for weeks, months, until that bone fused back together. This is the ultimate truth. Humans did not survive because of advanced biology or secret herbs. We survived because we invented social cooperation. Our evolutionary advantage wasn't medicine, it was empathy. While every other animal evolved claws, venom, or wings to survive, humans evolved the capacity to care for the weak. We became each other's healthcare system. Long before hospitals existed, human connection was the medicine. But this leaves us with an unsettling question for our modern world. Today, we have the most advanced medical technology in human history. We can replace hearts, cure deadly diseases with a single injection, and edit our very DNA. Yet, as our medicine becomes more advanced, our societies are becoming more isolated, fractured, and lonely. We defeated the pathogens of the wilderness, but we are quietly losing the thing that kept us alive in the first place. If a broken femur was the first sign of human civilization, then what does our current world say about where that civilization is heading?